The alien woman was afraid to approach me. Part 1. Kara. Brooke stared at the strange woman across the cafeteria who kept glancing her way, then quickly looking down whenever Kara noticed her. The woman had pale lavender skin that seemed to shimmer under the harsh lights of the space station. Her eyes were large, almost taking up half her face, and they were the deepest shade of purple Kara had ever seen. Her hair was not hair at all, but rather thin, crystalline strands that caught the light and scattered it into tiny rainbows. It had been 6 months since humans had made first contact with the Nalari, a spacefaring race that had been watching Earth for decades. They had finally revealed themselves when humans had developed faster than light travel. The cultural exchange program had begun just 2 weeks ago, and Kara had volunteered immediately as an ambassador of Earth. She had been stationed on Harmony Station, the massive joint human-Nalari space habitat positioned in neutral space between both solar systems. Yet this particular Nalari woman seemed terrified of her Sam. Another human ambassador sat down beside Kara with her lunch tray. The food on the station was a mix of human and Nalari cuisine, though humans had to be careful about which alien foods they could safely digest. "I think she likes you," Sam said, nodding toward the alien woman. "I don't think so," Kara replied. "She seems scared of me. I've tried to approach her 3 times and she practically runs away." Sam shrugged. "Maybe it's a cultural thing." "The briefing said Nalari have some strange customs. Did you read the part about how they greet each other?" Kara nodded. "They touch foreheads. I know I studied all the material, but she won't even let me get close enough to say hello." She picked at her food but couldn't stop thinking about the lavender woman. She had come here to build bridges between species, not to frighten anyone. Taking a deep breath, Kara stood up. "I'm going to try again," she told Sam. Kara walked slowly across the cafeteria, careful to keep her hands visible and her posture relaxed as they'd been taught in training. The Nalari woman froze, her large purple eyes growing even wider. She clutched her datapad to her chest. Her crystalline hair strands seemed to stiffen a defensive posture that Kara recognized from the briefings. "Hello," Kara said softly. "I'm Kara Brooks from Earth. I noticed you've been looking at me. May I join you?" The alien woman blinked rapidly, a sign of nervousness according to their cultural briefings. After several seconds, she nodded. Once Kara sat down carefully, leaving plenty of space between them. "I don't think I caught your name, Lyra," the woman whispered. Her voice had an unusual musical quality that all Nalari shared. "You are the one who saved the Nalari ship during the docking accident." Kara was surprised I was just doing my job. The accident 2 days ago had been minor. A small Nalari shuttle had lost power during docking procedures, and Kara had managed to override the station's automatic systems to extend the docking clamps manually. Several Nalari had been aboard, and while they were never in any real danger, the situation had been tense. "You touched the control panel directly," Lyra said with something like awe in her voice. "No protection. No interface device." "Yes," Kara said, confused. "Is that unusual?" Lyra leaned forward slightly. "You must be very brave." Kara wasn't following. "I don't understand." The Nalari woman hesitated, then extended her arm, turning it so Kara could see the underside of her wrist. There was what looked like a small crystal embedded in her lavender skin. It glowed faintly, with an internal light pulsing gently in time with what Kara assumed was her heartbeat. "We connect with technology through these," Lyra explained. "We have never needed to develop manual interfaces like buttons or switches. Our entire civilization uses neural connections. These are implanted at birth. They grow with us." Kara was fascinated. "So you never actually touch your technology?" Lyra shook her head. "The concept is frightening to us. Dangerous even. To manipulate electricity and complex systems with bare hands." She shivered visibly. "It would be like putting your hand into fire." Understanding dawned on Kara. "You thought I was some kind of daredevil." The Nalari made a musical sound that might have been a laugh. "For 3 days I have been trying to work up the courage to speak with you, the human who fearlessly controls machines with her bare skin. The stories have spread throughout our delegation. Some call you the fearless one. Kara couldn't help but laugh to think that something as simple as pressing buttons would make her seem like a superhero to these advanced aliens whose technology was centuries ahead. Of Earth's our cultures are more different than I realized, Kara said. I never considered that something so ordinary to humans would seem extraordinary to your people. Lyra tilted her head in a gesture Kara had learned meant curiosity. Yet you have neural interfaces too. I have seen humans using neural headsets. Kara nodded. That's true, but they're external and only used for specific applications. Most of our technology still relies on physical interaction. I have a proposal. Lyra said, her voice stronger now. I would like to study your methods of technological interaction. And perhaps, she added with a hint of nervousness, I could show you how our neural interfaces work. Kara smiled warmly. I would like that very much. They spent the rest of the meal talking about the differences in their technologies. Lyra explained that Nalari ships had no physical controls at all, that everything from navigation to weapons systems was controlled through thought and the crystal interfaces they had. Never even considered developing button switches or touchscreens because it seemed so primitive and dangerous to them. In turn, Kara described how humans had evolved from simple tools to complex machines, always maintaining physical contact with their creations. She showed Lyra her tablet and how she could control it with touches and swipes. The Nalari woman watched in fascination as Kara manipulated the screen. Don't you worry about electrical feedback, Lyra asked, or system malfunctions causing harm to your hands? Kara shook her head. Our devices are designed to be safe and we use insulators and safety features. By the time they finished their meal, a small crowd of Nalari had gathered at nearby tables, all watching with undisguised interest. As Kara demonstrated her tablet, several of them whispered among themselves, and Kara caught the phrase, "Fearless One," repeated several times. That evening, when Kara returned to her quarters, she found a message waiting on her terminal. It was from Admiral Pytel, the human commander of the Exchange Program Officer Brooks. The message read, Your interaction with Lyra Vex has caused quite a stir among the Nalari delegation. In a good way, their cultural attaché has informed me that several more Nalari have expressed interest in working directly with humans when they were previously hesitant. Keep up the good work. This is exactly the kind of cultural bridge building we need. Kara smiled to herself as she prepared for bed. Who would have thought that simply pressing buttons would make her a celebrity among aliens? Tomorrow she was scheduled to meet Lyra again, this time in the Nalari section of the station. She wondered what other cultural misconceptions they might discover and what other bridges they might build. She fell asleep thinking about Lyra's crystal interface and wondering what it would be like to control technology with just a thought. The alien woman was afraid to approach me. Part 2. The next morning, Kara arrived at the Nalari section of Harmony Station precisely on time. She stood before the arched doorway, which, unlike human doors, had no visible handle or control panel. She remembered what Lyra had explained about Nalari technology and looked for some kind of neural interface panel nearby, but found none. Kara was considering whether to call for assistance when the door simply slid open. Lyra stood on the other side, her lavender skin seeming to glow under the softer lighting of the Nalari section. Her crystalline hair strands shifted gently as she moved. Catching the light, I sensed your presence, the Nalari woman explained. The door is connected to me. Kara stepped inside, marveling at how different the Nalari section felt. The human parts of the station were all straight lines and practical designs with visible technology everywhere. Here everything flowed organically. The walls curved gently and seemed almost alive with faint pulses of light traveling through them like blood through veins. There were no visible screens, buttons, or control panels anywhere. It's beautiful, Kara said. Lyra made that musical sound again, which Kara now recognized as laughter. It is very plain by our standards, designed to be functional. This is nothing compared to our home world. She led Kara through winding corridors that seemed to shift and change as they walked. Kara quickly lost all sense of direction, but Lyra moved confidently, leading them deeper into the Nalari section. Other Nalari they passed stared openly at Kara, some with curiosity, others with what looked like admiration. A few whispered the phrase, fearless one, as she passed. Lyra finally stopped before what appeared to be a solid wall, but at her approach it dissolved, revealing a large circular room filled with what Kara could only describe as living technology. Shapes and forms that looked part mechanical and part biological, pulsed with internal light plants, or what appeared to be plants, grew from the walls, but they had metallic components integrated into their structures. "This is my research space," Lyra explained. "My specialty is comparative technologies. I study how different species interact with their tools and machines." Kara walked slowly around the room, careful not to touch anything. There were several objects she couldn't identify floating in midair with no visible means of support. "What are these?" she asked. Lyra moved to stand beside her. "Those are neural interface prototypes I have been developing. They allow for more complex interactions with our systems." Kara noticed something on a raised platform in the center of the room. It looked almost like a human chair, but with organic flowing lines. "Is that for me?" she asked. Lyra nodded with what Kara now recognized as nervousness. "I have been authorized to offer you a temporary neural interface. If you are willing, it would allow you to experience how we interact with our technology. Is completely safe and temporary." Kara hesitated. She hadn't expected this. The briefings had mentioned nothing about humans being given access to Nalari neural technology. It seemed like a tremendous opportunity, but also somewhat intimidating. "How does it work?" she asked. Lyra moved to the chair-like structure. "It forms a bioelectric connection with your nervous system through your skin. No implants required. It was developed for non-Nalari species we have encountered. It will feel strange at first, but it is not painful." Kara thought about it for a moment. This was why she had volunteered for the exchange program, to truly understand another species, and what better way than to experience their technology firsthand. "I'll try it," she said. Lyra seemed pleased. Her crystal hair strands relaxed and flowed more freely. "You are indeed brave." Kara Brooks. Kara sat in the chair, which conformed to her body, immediately feeling softer than it had looked. She had expected it to feel alien, but it was surprisingly comfortable. "Now relax," Lyra instructed, standing behind the chair. She placed her hands near Kara's head, not quite touching. "You will feel a tingling sensation." The tingling started at the base of Kara's skull and spread outward. It wasn't unpleasant, just unusual, like a gentle electric current running just under her skin. Then suddenly her perception changed. The room looked the same, but now Kara could see, or rather sense, the connections between everything. The plants, the walls, the floating devices, all were linked in an invisible network that she could somehow perceive. It was like seeing a new color, one that had always existed, but that her eyes had never been able to detect before. She could feel Lyra's presence too, not her physical form, but her mental signature, a complex pattern of light and energy, distinct and unmistakable. "Can you sense it?" Lyra asked, her voice somehow both audible and visible as patterns of light in Kara's new perception. "Yes," Kara breathed. "It's amazing. Try to reach out with your thoughts," Lyra suggested. "Focus on one of the floating devices." Kara concentrated on a small spherical object hovering nearby. In her mind, she reached toward it, and to her astonishment, it moved, drifting closer to her. She could sense its function now. It was a memory storage device containing information about Earth and humans. "I can read it," she said in wonder. Its data about Earth. Lyra made an approving sound. "You adapt quickly. Most non-Nalari require much longer to achieve this level of connection." For nearly an hour, Kara explored this new sense, learning to control the floating devices, access information from the living computers, and even adjust the room's lighting and temperature with just her thoughts. It was intoxicating. The neural interface felt like an extension of herself, making technology not just a tool but a part of her. When Lyra finally disconnected the interface, Kara felt a momentary sense of loss as the expanded perception faded. "That was incredible," she said, once she could speak normally again. "How do you ever use manual controls after experiencing that?" "We don't," Lyra replied, sitting in a chair that formed itself from the floor beside Kara. That is why your actions seemed so strange to us. We have been neural for so many generations that physical interaction with technology feels primitive, dangerous even. Kara nodded, understanding better now. No wonder the Nalari had been watching her so closely when she used the manual controls during the docking. Emergency. I have a question, Kara said. Why did you offer this to me? The briefings never mentioned neural interface sharing. Lyra was silent for a moment before answering. The Nalari High Council has been debating whether to share this technology with humans. Some believe your species is not ready, that you are too physically oriented. Others, including myself, believe that understanding each other's methods of interaction is crucial for true cooperation. So this was a test. Not a test, Lyra corrected. An opportunity. We wanted to see if humans could adapt to our methods, and you have proven remarkably adaptable. Kara felt honored but also slightly manipulated. I think humans would appreciate being told about such opportunities openly, rather than having them presented as casual offers. Lyra tilted her head in that curious gesture. I will note this cultural difference. Directness is not always our way. We prefer to allow situations to develop naturally. After leaving Lyra's research space, Kara was escorted back to the human section of the station. She found Admiral Patel waiting for her in the corridor. How was your experience with the neural interface? Officer Brooks, he asked without preamble. Kara wasn't surprised that he knew it must have been planned. Fascinating, sir, she admitted. But I believe we should have been briefed about this possibility before deployment. The Admiral nodded grimly. Agreed. The Nalari proposed it only yesterday. Their council has been debating sharing this technology since first contact. Your success with Lyra tipped the scales. They specifically requested you for the first trial. Kara considered this. The responsibility weighed on her shoulders. What happens now? Sir, the Admiral gestured for her to walk with him. Tomorrow, representatives from Earth governments will arrive to discuss technology sharing agreements. The Nalari are particularly interested in our physical interface designs. Kara raised her eyebrows. They want our buttons and switches. The Admiral chuckled. Precisely. It seems your demonstration in the cafeteria created quite an impression. Their engineers have theorized about physical interfaces, of course, but never developed them. Their entire infrastructure is neural, so they never needed to. But they recognize the advantages in emergency situations like the one you handled, so we have something to offer them after all. Kara said thoughtfully. Even though they're centuries ahead of us technologically, sometimes the simplest solutions are the most valuable, Officer Brooks. Admiral Patel said. The Nalari have been watching us for decades, but they never truly understood us. Now, thanks to you, they see value in our approach. Our fearlessness, as they call it. Kara smiled, thinking of Lyra, and her wide purple eyes filled with wonder as Kara had manipulated her tablet with just her fingers. Two species with completely different approaches to technology, both with something to teach the other. Perhaps there was more to bridge building than she had imagined. The alien woman was afraid to approach me. Part 3. The diplomatic reception area of Harmony Station buzzed with activity as human and Nalari officials gathered for the technology summit. Kara stood at attention near the entrance in her formal uniform, greeting delegates from both species. The human delegates were a mix of government officials and corporate representatives, while the Nalari delegation consisted primarily of members of their technology council, distinguished by the complex crystalline crowns that merged with their hair-like strands. Kara spotted Lyra across the room. The Nalari woman was speaking with a group of her people, gesturing animatedly. Her crystalline hair seemed more vibrant today, catching and reflecting the light in complex patterns that Kara now recognized as a sign of excitement. Admiral Patel approached Kara with an older human woman in an expensive business suit at his side. Officer Brooks, allow me to introduce Ms. Eleanor Harper, CEO of Harper Neural Technologies. Kara shook the woman's hand. Ms. Harper, I'm honored to meet you. Your company's work on non-invasive neural interfaces is groundbreaking. Eleanor. Harper smiled, a calculating expression that didn't quite reach her eyes. I understand you've experienced the Nalari Interface firsthand, Officer Brooks. I'd be very interested in hearing your assessment. Kara chose her words carefully. It's unlike anything we've developed. The connection feels more intuitive, more complete. But there's a learning curve. And what about their reaction to our technology? Asked Harper. They find it simultaneously primitive and fascinating. Kara replied. They never developed physical interfaces because their neural technology evolved so early in their history. Harper nodded thoughtfully, making notes on a small tablet. Primitive yet fascinating. How diplomatic of you, Officer Brooks. She turned to Admiral Patel. I'm going to mingle with our lavender friends. When Harper had moved away, Admiral Patel spoke quietly to Kara. The technology sharing. Negotiations are going to be tricky. The corporations see profit potential while the governments are concerned about security implications. Your insights will be valuable. Brooks. Keep your eyes and ears open, yes. Sir, Kara said. The Admiral was called away by another official, leaving Kara alone. She scanned the room and noticed Lyra approaching her. Kara Brooks. Lyra greeted her. The traditional Nilari greeting was a touching of foreheads, but Lyra instead extended her hand in the human fashion. May I borrow you for a moment? There are some members of the Technology Council who wish to meet the fearless one. Kara suppressed a smile at the nickname that seemed to have stuck. I would be honored. Lyra led her to a group of 3 Nilari whose crystalline crowns were more elaborate than the others. The central figure was taller than most Nilari, his lavender skin darker, almost purple and etched with faint luminescent patterns that seemed to flow beneath the surface. Esteemed counselors, Lyra said with a slight bow. This is Officer Kara Brooks of Earth. The tall Nilari fixed his large eyes on Kara. I am First Technologist Varen, he said, his voice deeper than Lyra's but with the same musical quality. Your demonstration of manual interface techniques has caused quite a stir among our people. Kara bowed slightly, unsure of the proper protocol. It was nothing extraordinary by human standards. That is precisely what makes it interesting. Varen replied. What is ordinary to one species may be revolutionary to another. You physically manipulated electrical systems with no neural protection. Kara nodded, thinking how strange this conversation would sound to other humans. The first technologist continued. Your species developed along a completely different technological path than ours. Your neural interfaces are primitive by our standards, but your physical interfaces are far more advanced. Our delegation has brought prototype designs based on your methods, but we require human expertise to refine them. I'm sure our engineers would be happy to assist, Kara said. I was hoping you specifically might consult with us, Varen said. The human called Harper has been quite informative about your technical background. Your combination of engineering, expertise, and first-hand experience with our neural systems makes you uniquely qualified. Kara was surprised Eleanor Harper had been discussing her with the Nilari. She glanced across the room and saw Harper watching their conversation with obvious interest. I'd be honored to help. I just wasn't aware that Ms. Harper knew my background. Lyra made a gesture that Kara had learned indicated discomfort. She says you worked for her company before joining the exchange program. Is this not correct? No, Kara said carefully. I never worked for Harper Neural Technologies. My background is in spacecraft systems. Engineering. Varen and the other counselors exchanged looks, their crystal crowns flashing briefly in what Kara now recognized as a form of nonverbal communication. Interesting, Varen said. We will discuss this further, Officer Brooks, but for now, please enjoy the reception. The counselors moved away. Lyra remained with Kara. The Nilari woman seemed troubled, her crystal strands moving in, agitated. Patterns. Why would the human Harper claim you worked for her company? Lyra asked. Kara shook her head. I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out. She made her way across the reception room to where Eleanor Harper stood, talking with a group of human executives. As Kara approached, Harper smoothly excused herself from the group. Officer Brooks, Harper said with a tight smile. I see you've been making friends among the Technology Council Ms. Harper. Kara kept her voice low and professional. Why did you tell the Nilari that I worked for your company? Harper took a sip from her glass. I merely mentioned that you had experience with neural interfaces, which is true after your little test run with their technology. Yesterday you became the first human to successfully use a Nalari interface that makes you valuable. Officer Brooks. Valuable to whom? To humanity, of course. Harper smiled again. Perhaps we could discuss your future after your military service ends. Harper. Neural could use someone with your unique experience. Kara felt uncomfortable. Is that what this is about, recruitment? Harper leaned closer. Let me be direct. The Nalari are centuries ahead of us in neural interface technology. Whoever controls the adaptation of that technology for human use stands to make. Trillions Earth governments will regulate it, of course, but the private sector will drive innovation. You're now the human expert on their systems. I experienced it once. Kara protested. Once is more than anyone else, Harper countered. And the Nalari have specifically requested your involvement. My company is positioned to be the primary commercial partner in this venture. Having you on our team would be advantageous. Kara was saved from responding by Admiral Patel's arrival, ladies. He said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I hope you're enjoying the reception. Eleanor Harper straightened. Just discussing future opportunities with Officer Brooks. The Admiral nodded. Of course, Ms. Harper, though I should remind you that all personnel assigned to this mission are under military jurisdiction for the duration of the exchange program. Any recruitment efforts should go through proper channels. Harper inclined her head slightly. Of course, Admiral, just friendly conversation. She moved away to join another group. The Admiral watched her go, then turned to Kara. Be careful with that one. Brooks Harper Neural Technologies has been lobbying heavily for exclusive access to any shared Nalari technology. I can see why Kara said their neural interface is unlike anything we've developed. Patel nodded. The summit meetings begin tomorrow. You'll be present as technical advisor along with several other specialists. Try to get some rest. After the reception, Kara returned to her quarters, but found herself unable to sleep. Her mind kept returning to the strange interactions with Harper and the Nalari counselors. Something felt off about the whole situation. Her terminal chimed with an incoming message. The screen indicated it was from Lyra. Can we meet? Now the message read its important use private channel. Kara activated her personal communicator, setting it to the specified channel. Lyra. This is Kara. What's wrong? Kara's voice came through. Clearly, I need to speak with you about Harper and the Technology Council. Not over communications. Can you come to observation deck 3 now? It'll be right there, Kara said. The observation decks were neutral zones designed for both species to enjoy the spectacular views of space. Deck 3 was the smallest, and least frequently used, perfect for a private conversation. Kara threw on her uniform and made her way through the dimly lit corridors of the station night cycle. The observation deck was empty when she arrived, a panoramic window revealing the stunning vista of stars and the distant blue sphere of Earth. Lyra stepped out from behind a support column. Her crystalline hair dimmed to almost darkness. Kara, I apologize for the secrecy. What's going on? Kara asked. Lyra moved closer, speaking quietly. After you left, First Technologist Varen had a private meeting with Harper. They discussed you specifically. Harper has offered Varen something in exchange for ensuring you're assigned to work directly with her company on the technology transfer. Kara frowned. That sounds like corporate espionage or bribery. Lyra made a gesture of agreement, the Nalari equivalent of a nod. I believe Harper is not being truthful about her intentions. The Technology Council is divided. Some, like Varen, believe we should limit what we share with humans. Others, like myself, believe in open exchange. Harper is exploiting this division. But why focus on me? Kara asked. Because you bridged the gap. Lyra explained. You showed no fear of our technology, and we showed no fear of yours. The success of your neural interface test proves that our species can truly share knowledge, but if Harper controls access to that knowledge, the alien woman was afraid to approach me. Part 4. Kara woke with a pounding headache. She was lying on a bed in what appeared to be standard station quarters, but not her own. The room was dimly lit and unfamiliar. She tried to sit up, but a wave of dizziness forced her back down easy there. Harper said, stepping into view from the corner of the room. The sedative takes a while to wear off completely. Where am I? Kara demanded, her voice hoarse. Where is Lyra? Harper sat on the edge of the bed. You're in my private quarters assigned to me for the summit. Lyra is fine. I simply told her you were unwell and needed medical attention. She wanted to stay, but I convinced her that human doctors needed to examine you. Kara tried to access her communicator, but it was gone. Looking for this, Harper held up Kara's personal device. Your admiral will be informed that you had a stress reaction to the neural interface, delayed onset, but not uncommon. It's in the medical literature. Trust me. I wrote most of it. She smiled thinly. By the time you're well enough to attend the summit, the preliminary agreements will be signed. You drugged me, Kara said, struggling to clear her head. Why? Harper stood and paced the room. You don't understand the stakes. The Nalari have technology that could revolutionize human civilization. Neural interfaces that can cure paralysis and mental illness, expand human consciousness. But they fear us. They're only willing to share limited applications. You and Lyra, your little friendship, threatened to open the floodgates. They were going to share everything. Not just medical applications, but communication, deep space, navigation weapons. They trust you. The fearless one. She spat the nickname. So you're protecting humanity, is that it? Kara said. I am, Harper insisted. You military types think in terms of threat assessment and tactical advantage. I think in terms of human potential. The Nalari are holding back their most advanced neural technology for fear of what we'd do with it. But if we control the narrative, develop it slowly under corporate guidance, we can ensure it benefits humanity without scaring our new alien friends and makes you the wealthiest human in history. Kara added. Harper shrugged. Wealth is a side effect of innovation. She checked her watch. Now I have a summit to attend. Your report has already been submitted recommending Harper Neural Technologies as the primary development partner. A report with your signature. I've taken the liberty of filling in the technical details based on our conversation. You forged my report. Kara tried again to sit up, this time managing to prop herself against the headboard. Not forged, synthesized. Harper corrected. It's what you would have recommended if you truly understood the bigger picture. By the time you convince anyone otherwise, the agreements will be signed. You should rest. The sedative will wear off completely in a few hours. She moved toward the door. By the way, the quarters are locked. Your biometrics won't open it when Harper had gone. Kara forced herself to stand, fighting through the dizziness. She examined the room, looking for anything she could use. There was no computer terminal, no communication device. The quarters had been stripped of anything useful. Kara slumped back onto the bed. Her head was clearing, but she still felt weak. Whatever Harper had used was powerful. She closed her eyes, trying to think. There had to be a way out. A way to stop Harper before the agreements were signed. A soft, chiming sound made her open her eyes. A section of the wall was glowing, pulsing with gentle light in a pattern that seemed familiar. It took Kara a moment to recognize it as a Nalari neural signature, similar to what she had experienced during her interface session with Lyra. The wall section dissolved, revealing Lyra standing in what appeared to be a maintenance passage. Her crystal hair was dimmed almost to darkness, but her eyes glowed brightly in the dim light. Kara, she whispered. You are conscious. Good. Harper told us you were ill. I sensed deception. I followed Lyra. Kara struggled to her feet. How did you find me? The Nalari woman stepped into the room. The neural connection we shared left a trace. I can sense your presence if I focus. She moved closer too, Kara catching her as she swayed. We must hurry. The summit begins in 30 minutes. Harper has submitted a report in your name. I know, Kara said, steadying herself against Lyra. Can you get me out of here? Lyra nodded. I can access most station systems. Through neural command, the maintenance tunnels will lead us to the summit chamber. They moved into the passage, Lyra sealing the wall behind them. The tunnel was narrow, lit only by occasional strips of bioluminescent material. Lyra led the way, her crystal hair providing additional light. Kara followed, still unsteady but determined. "What will happen if Harper's plan succeeds?" Kara asked as they moved through the passage. Lyra slowed her pace to match Kara's. "The technology sharing will be limited. Controlled Harper will receive exclusive rights to develop neural applications for humans, and in exchange, she will help the Technology Council develop physical interfaces, but only the applications approved by both Harper and certain members of the Council." Like Kara guessed, Lyra made an affirmative gesture. "The first technologist believes humans are not ready for our most advanced neural technology. He fears what your military might do with direct neural weapon systems or surveillance applications." Kara couldn't entirely disagree with that assessment. But Harper isn't any better. She wants to control the technology for profit. We cannot allow either. Extreme, Lyra said. "We need balanced exchange with proper oversight from both species." They reached a junction where the passage split in 3 directions. Lyra paused, considering, then chose the left path. Kara noticed that the Nalari woman seemed to navigate without hesitation. "How do you know where to go?" Kara asked. "The station speaks too." Lyra explained. "All Nalari technology is connected. The maintenance systems share their knowledge with me." As they continued, Kara felt her strength returning, the effects of the sedative finally wearing off. They had been walking for nearly 20 minutes when Lyra suddenly stopped. "What is it?" Kara asked. Lyra tilted her head in that familiar, curious gesture. "Something is wrong. I sense a change in the summit chamber. The agreements are being finalized already ahead of schedule. We need to hurry." Kara said. Lyra led them through a series of increasingly narrow passages until they reached what appeared to be a dead end. "This will access the observer's gallery above the main summit chamber," she explained, placing her hand on the wall. The material rippled under her touch, then dissolved, revealing a small opening. Kara peered through. They were indeed above the main chamber, looking down on the assembled delegates. The summit was already in progress. Admiral Patel stood at a central podium with First Technologist Varen. The human and Nalari delegates were seated in concentric semicircles facing them. Eleanor Harper sat in a position of prominence in the front row, and so Patel was saying, "Based on the technical assessment provided by our Exchange Officer Kara Brooks, we recommend proceeding with the limited technology sharing agreement, as outlined by Ms. Harper and First Technologist Varen. A controlled development path with appropriate safeguards." Kara had to act quickly. She turned to Lyra. "Can you project my voice into the chamber?" The Nalari woman nodded. "Connecting to the room systems will be simple. But what will you say?" "The truth." Kara replied. Lyra placed her hand on a small crystalline node in the wall beside the opening. It glowed briefly as she connected with it. "Ready," she said. Admiral Patel. Kara called, her voice amplified and projected into the chamber. "This is Officer Kara Brooks." The summit erupted in confusion as delegates looked around for the source of the voice. Admiral Patel looked up, spotting Kara in the observer's gallery. Kara saw Eleanor Harper rise from her seat, face pale. The report submitted. "In my name is a forgery," Kara continued. "I was drugged and imprisoned by Eleanor Harper, who intended to control the technology exchange for her companies." Benefit guards surrounded Harper as Admiral Patel called for order. The first technologist stood, his crystal crown flashing with what Kara now recognized as anger or alarm. Officer Brooks, the Admiral, called. "What is the meaning of this?" Kara explained quickly how Harper had sedated her, forged the report, and attempted to manipulate the summit. She described Harper's plan to control the flow of technology between the species as she spoke. Lyra stepped forward beside her. The Nalari woman added her own testimony, describing how she had found Kara and what she knew of the conspiracy between Harper and certain members of the Technology Council. First Technologist Varen denied any wrongdoing, but other council members began questioning him, their crystal crowns flashing in rapid communication. The summit dissolved into chaos as accusations flew between the human and Nalari delegations. Admiral Patel finally managed to restore order in light of these serious allegations. He announced, "We will suspend the formal proceedings pending an investigation." Officer Brooks and Scientist Lyra will provide full statements. The technology sharing agreement will not be signed today. Eleanor Harper was escorted from the chamber by security personnel. She looked up as she passed beneath the observer's gallery, catching Kara's eye. Her expression was not of anger but of disappointment. Hours later, after giving detailed statements to both human and Nalari authorities, Kara sat with Lyra in the station's garden area. The artificial environment was designed to accommodate plants from both worlds, creating a strange but harmonious landscape of earth trees and alien crystalline growths. I still don't understand how. You found me, Kara said. The neural connection was temporary. The alien woman was afraid to approach me. Part 5-6 months after the summit incident, Harmony Station had been transformed. The once distinct human and Nalari sections now blended together in what the crew called the hybrid zone, where technologies from both species were integrated and tested. Under Kara and Lyra's leadership, the Joint Technology Commission had made remarkable progress. Kara stood in the new interface lab watching as a human engineer practiced using a modified Nalari neural headset. The device combined human ergonomics with Nalari crystal technology, allowing limited neural control without surgical implants. The engineer, a woman named Olivia, was moving holographic objects with her thoughts, her face showing intense concentration. Excellent progress, Kara noted, making entries on her tablet. The response time is improving. Lyra stood beside her, the Nalaris crystal hair strands now adorned with small human-designed interface components that she had integrated into her neural system, a symbol of the technological merging their teams were creating. The integration is more efficient than predicted, Lyra observed. We have achieved in 6 months what the original estimate suggested would take years. Kara smiled. That tends to happen when people work together instead of against each other. She thought briefly of Eleanor Harper, who was now facing charges on Earth for corporate espionage, assault, and attempted sabotage of diplomatic relations. The woman had been brilliant, but her desire for control had been her downfall. Olivia removed the neural headset, looking pleased with herself. That was amazing. I could actually feel the data. It wasn't just controlling the objects, it was like becoming them. Lyra made her musical laughing sound. That is the essence of our approach. We do not control technology, we join with it. Admiral Patel entered the lab accompanied by a Nalari Kara, recognized as the new first technologist. The previous one, Varan, had been removed from the council after his collaboration with Harper had been proven. Officer Brooks' technologist Lara Patel greeted them. The demonstration for the joint delegation begins in an hour. Are we ready? Kara nodded. The hybrid interface is functioning at 90% efficiency, sir. We have 5 human volunteers and 5 Nalari ready to demonstrate the applications. The applications included medical diagnostics, where Nalari neural sensing technology had been adapted for human use, navigation systems that combined human manual controls with Nalari thought commands, and communication systems that allowed for faster, more intuitive information sharing. Each breakthrough had built on the last, creating technologies neither species would have developed. A lone first technologist, Kieran the Nalari, who had replaced Varan, stepped forward, examining the equipment with interest. The council is most impressed with your progress, he said, his musical voice deeper than Lyra's. Our scientists had estimated decades before such integration would be possible. Lyra tilted her head in that familiar gesture of curiosity. We succeeded because we began with friendship, not fear. The human approach of physical interaction, combined with our neural sensitivity, created something greater than either alone. Patel smiled at Chiron. There will be a reception after the demonstration. The Earth delegates are particularly interested in the medical applications. Paralysis patients on Earth have already begun testing the prototype neural mobility systems with remarkable results. A chime sounded throughout the lab, indicating an incoming station announcement. Attention all personnel, the station's AI announced in both human English and the musical Nalari language. We are receiving an emergency transmission from deep space, Beacon 67. A vessel of unknown origin has entered the solar system and is not responding to hails. All personnel report to duty stations. Patel's communicator buzzed. He answered it, listened briefly, then turned to Kara and Lyra. The demonstration will have to wait. We have an unidentified ship approaching rapidly. It's not responding to any communication attempts in any language. Kara and Lyra exchanged glances. This would be the first contact with a new species since humans and Nalari had found each other. Sir Kara said we should activate the new integrated defense system. It's never been tested in a real situation, but it's our best option. Patel finished for her. Agreed, the integrated defense system was one of the first projects Kara and Lyra had worked on together, combining human tactical analysis with Nalari neural targeting, a system designed to protect, not attack. They hurried to the station's command center, which had been redesigned to accommodate both species. Human officers sat at physical control stations, while Nalari operators connected directly to the station's systems through neural interfaces. The two approaches complemented each other, humans handling direct, manual operations while the Nalari maintained the complex integrated systems. On the main view screen, a vessel approached. It was unlike any ship Kara had seen before, neither human nor Nalari in design. Its hull appeared to be made of overlapping plates that shifted and moved like scales on some giant space creature. Scan results are coming in, said a human officer at the sensor station. The vessel is approximately twice the size of our largest cruiser. Its power signature is off the charts. Any response to our hails? Asked Patel. Nothing, sir. All frequencies, all known languages. No response. Lyra, who had connected to the station's neural interface system, reported. They are scanning us. Their energy patterns suggest weapons charging. Defensive posture. Patel ordered, activate the integrated shield system. But no offensive measures. We don't want to appear hostile. The station's new shields, a combination of human electromagnetic technology and Nalari energy dispersion fields, came online, surrounding Harmony Station in layers of protection visible as a faint shimmer around the structure. The alien vessel continued its approach, then suddenly stopped, maintaining position just outside weapons range. Something is happening. Lyra reported, her crystal hair flashing with information as she processed data through her neural connection. They are attempting to access our computer systems. A human officer confirmed, cyber attack detected, sir, multiple vectors. Let me try something, Kara said. She moved to a control station and began typing rapidly, connecting to the defense system she and Lyra had designed. If they want to connect to our systems, let's give them a taste of our hybrid technology. Lyra understood immediately, joining Kara at the station and placing her hand on a neural interface pad beside the human controls. The two of them worked in perfect synchronization, Kara handling the physical programming while Lyra guided the neural response. We are creating a controlled pathway, Kara explained, to Patel, a neural honeypot. If they want to communicate through our computers, we'll channel it into the translation matrix. The alien ship intensified its signal. As it did, both Kara and Lyra gasped, feeling the foreign presence enter their hybrid system. It wasn't an attack, they realized simultaneously, but an attempt at communication. The aliens simply used technology as their language. Lyra spoke, her voice strained. They communicate through pure data streams. They don't understand our verbal or visual communication methods. Kara felt the alien presence through the system. It was strange but not hostile, more curious than anything. Tentative, probing, gentle in its exploration of their technology. We need to show them how we communicate. She said to Lyra, send them language packets, audio, visual, text, everything. For several tense minutes the exchange continued, the alien vessel sending complex data patterns, while Harmony Station responded with every form of communication humans and Nalari had developed. Finally, a message appeared on the main screen in both English and Nalari script communication. Established differences acknowledged, approach requested. Admiral Patel looked at Kara and Lyra. Send them coordinates for a formal meeting. Tell them they can send representatives. The first contact protocols were initiated as the station prepared to receive visitors from yet another spacefaring species. Kara and Lyra worked tirelessly to establish a more stable communication system, combining their technologies in new ways to bridge the gap with the aliens. 3 days later, as they prepared for the arrival of the alien representatives, Kara found Lyra in their shared lab space. The Nalari woman was adjusting the translator matrix. They had developed Do you think they'll understand us? Kara asked. Sitting beside her friend, Lyra looked up, her crystal hair reflecting her thoughtfulness. They communicate through technology, rather than sound or visual signals. It will be challenging, but we have something they don't. What's that? Experience with bridging seemingly incompatible systems, Lyra replied. Her crystal strands brightened. What began with fear between us has led to understanding between our species. And now we face another, different species together. Kara smiled, remembering their first meeting in the cafeteria, when Lyra had been too afraid to approach her. I never imagined that pressing buttons would make me a hero among your people. And I never imagined that neural interfaces would seem frightening to yours, Lyra countered. Yet here we are creating something new together. Admiral Patel's voice came over the communication system. Officer Brooks, technologist Lyra, please report to Docking Bay 3. Our visitors will be arriving within the hour as they made their way to the docking bay. Kara thought about how far they had come. The station itself had transformed, becoming a true blend of both species' technologies and cultures. Now they faced something entirely new again.